Hey, what's up guys? Alex here with a new video, and today we're taking a look at another budget lens, this time by Yongnuo, their 50mm f1.8 DS DF lens for the Sony E-mount. If you're new to the channel, I am a photographer based out of Miami, Florida, and I primarily shoot with Sony and Leica. A few weeks ago, Yongnuo reached out to me and asked me if I'd be interested in reviewing this lens, and I jumped on the opportunity. What's ironic is a few years ago, if this would have happened, I would have said no. Because a few years ago, I didn't really believe in third-party budget lenses. Well, why is that? Well, budget lenses are usually associated with obviously a cheap price, somewhat image quality, bad build quality, and sometimes compatibility issues. That's changed a lot over the past few years. As a matter of fact, you have companies like Viltrox now that are absolutely crushing it, and they're third-party budget lenses. So I'm a firm believer now in this segment, and this lens just completely reaffirms that belief. But let's take a step back. This lens retails for $318, and it's a full-frame 50mm f1.8. What's tricky is Sony has their own 51.8 at a cheaper price point, I think give or take 60, 70 bucks. So this lens has to do better than the Sony to justify its position in the market. Now, I didn't compare them, and I'm not doing that in this video. I shot with that lens maybe a year or two ago, and I can say that shooting with a Sony, that lens is definitely soft wide open, definitely has tons of purple fringing. It is small and compact, it is lightweight, it is built well, but it's not the best lens in the market. Which means this Yongnuo lens has to do a few things better. Better image quality, better purple fringing, and I think it takes the cake and can justify its price point. I do have to say this, it's been gloomy and ugly in Miami the last few weeks, not inspiring at all. I can't complain too much because at least it's not cold here, so it's not snowing or anything, but I've only used this lens a handful of times, so this video is more of a first look than an actual review. I took this lens out last weekend for an event here in Miami called Art Deco. There was tons of cool cars, and I decided to test out this lens there. When I was shooting in this environment, I realized I was really testing out the lens because when you're shooting in harsh light, wide open, with tons of contrast, you're really gonna see the purple fringing and you're gonna really see if the lens is sharp. And to my surprise, this lens did great. The purple fringing was minimal, like you can barely see it in some images, you have to pixel peep. And the fact that I'm shooting at 1.8 wide open midday and there's hardly any fringing, that completely blew me away. The second component was at 1.8, this lens is sharp, tack sharp. That also really surprised me. Also, when using it, the autofocus was perfect. There was no compatibility issues. The lens just worked and it felt like a native lens. I think to top it off, when you look at the build quality of this lens, it's made out of metal, has 2 customizable buttons, a USB-C port for firmware upgrades, and an autofocus manual focus switch. I just walked away super impressed by this lens. Now, there are 2 cons of this lens. Now, one of them really isn't a con, but I'm gonna point it out anyways. The first one though is the size and weight. No, this lens isn't huge or massively heavy, but it is a bit larger and heavier than your typical budget 51.8 lens. I can forgive it though because the image quality you're getting really makes up for it, but I wanted to point that out. Now, the second one is purely cosmetic. It has a massive 50mm badge in the front of the lens, and I just don't understand why it's so big. It doesn't make sense to me aesthetically. I'm not the biggest fan of this look, but that's my only con. Like I mentioned before, really happy with the build quality and really impressed by the image quality I saw. So at $318, this lens is definitely worth a look. Like I do with all my videos, the images you've been seeing are available to download down below, so feel free to check them out. If you like my edits as well, my preset is also available. And let me know your thoughts down below what you think about this Yongnuo 50mm f1.8 lens. As always, guys, please smash the like button, please subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Have a good one, guys. Peace.